Yep. I think I'm never going to.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the March 2nd, 2022 meeting of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board. I'd like to ask everyone to silence their cell phones, cease private conversations at this time. And I'd like to remind the members to lean forward and speak clearly so the microphone can pick you up. And we'll begin by having our board members introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
Shahab Amrani.
Festus Pobeni.
Harris Morphopoulos.
Keenan Kinsel.
Terry Nowitzki.
Ray Casano.
Very good. So we'll go on to item number 2. And I'd like to request, are there any requests for corrections of the minutes of the last meeting? Okay. There being none, I'd like to have a motion to adopt the minutes of the February 2nd meeting.
There.
Very good. We have a motion from Shahab. Can you
Yes,
state the
motion
motion?
to adopt the February 2nd, 22 regular DDB meeting minutes.
Second.
Seconded by Keenan. Okay, is there any board discussion? Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, so let's go to item number 3, citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. If there are any people that wish to address us, please limit your comments to matters that are relevant to our district and our mandate. If they're about items that are on our agenda, please wait until those agenda items are called. And if there's anyone, please come up and identify yourself at this time. Is there anyone? Okay. We will go on. Item number 4. Howard, if you can brief us on the January 2022 financial statement.
Good evening, Board. Howard Smith, CRE Business Assistant Administrator. The purpose of this item is to request approval of the January 2022 financial statement filing. On February 24th, I provided the Board with an outline of the year-to-date expenses as well as the monthly expenses. Funds spent in the month of January 2022 totaled $33,727. The ending budget for the Downtown Development Board balance was a total of $577,329.90. As of February 15, 2022, the DDB has allocated $132,955.75 of their marketing line item, with the remaining balance being $117,044.25. And as of February 15, 2022, the DDB has allocated $0 of their business assistance line item, with their remaining balance being $200,000. And as of February 15, 2022, the DDB has allocated $0 of their policy and project work line item, and the remaining balance for that line item is $27,550.
Okay, is there any discussion or any questions of Howard? Okay. We don't appear to have any questions. Are there any citizen comments on this item? All right. So I'd like to request a motion regarding the January 2022 financial statement for filing.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the January 2022 financial statement filing.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Second.
Terry, I heard your name first, or heard your voice first. Okay, so Terry seconds. Is there any discussion on this topic? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Here's unanimous. Okay, now, Howard, if you could lead us into the next item, 4.2.
Okay, again, Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. And the purpose of this line item is to request approval of funding for the Tampa Bay Ukulele Society Incorporated. The Ukulele Festival in the amount of $9,855. On February 22nd, the board was provided a detailed outline with the event services. The Tampa Bay Ukulele Society Incorporated is one of the largest ukulele clubs in the world with over 3,000 members. This nonprofit holds events throughout the course of the year. They do, their events include open mic nights, jams, workshops, concerts, and also for annual events throughout the course of the year. For the event that they're requesting funding for, it will take place on April 23rd, 2022. And there will be a live performance that will occur in multiple locations on Cleveland Street at the 400 and 500 block. With that, the event will start at Cleveland Street from 11 a.m. and run to 10 p.m. This event will feature 8 free workshops for beginners and novice to introduce them to how to play the ukulele, as well as for those first come, first serve novice to be able to teach them the basics of ukulele, which would be chord structure and how to strum a simple tune. The event will also feature a free concert at 7 p.m. at Peace Memorial Church, and before the show, a fundraiser and a reception will be held, and the proceeds from that will also benefit the Clearwater Free Clinic, and that event is from 5 p.m. To 6 p.m. Funding for this quest will support the operational and marketing expenses incurred for hosting a ukulele festival, which includes the city fees, live music fees, as well as the training workshops and marketing. And for the marketing, that will be print advertisement, social media, as well as news media. This grant request does align with the Downtown Development Board 2021-2022 work plan to fund the production and marketing of various special events throughout the DDB district. And pending grant approval by the board, the Tampa Ukulele Society Incorporated will complete a grant agreement that outlines their festival details for marketing requirements and also the DDB reimbursement. One thing I would like to bring to the board attention that we are recommending as your staff that this event is funded in the amount of $9,855, but in the grant request, the grant requester is requesting more. Our recommendation is based off of festivals or events of this size that we have traditionally funded in the amount of $10,000 or less. Funds for this grant is available through the marketing category line item 182-941-55860 for the DDB's 21-22 budget, and per the DDB funding policy, the request of $9,855 is below the $75,000, which is 30% of the DDB's $250,000 marketing budget. And for tonight, I have the event coordinator. His name is Robert Wells. He's here to provide you information about the Ukulele Festival and answer any questions that you may have for his funding request.
Good evening, Board. I guess as things change and we see people now, we can literally say it's the faces behind the masks, because I recognize 2 of you people, but I wouldn't have otherwise. When I saw all this marvelous audiovisual equipment, I realized we should have brought a couple of strummers and started out with our best version of What a Wonderful World. But I want to thank, first of all, Howard for the time and energy he's put into helping us put this together and do all the logistics that and the paperwork that's required. As he said, one interesting note, and I think it should be one of our combined goals, that's the 500 block, the lower 500 block of Cleveland Street there, and hopefully someday it'll be back to that vibrancy. So, interestingly enough, as Howard said, the Tampa Bay Ukulele Society is 3,000 members, and arguably is the largest in the world. It's definitely the largest in the U.S. It is also the busiest group on Meetup. If you go into Meetup on Facebook, you'll see that literally every night of the week, there's maybe 1, 2, sometimes 3 events. They're either instructional, they're doing open mics, and as time goes on, we realize one of the great benefits, the silver lining of the pandemic, is they've been able to do so much more of this, and it will continue. They have people that have taken their garages and turned them into modified studios, and they conduct classes, they conduct jams, they do the whole thing that they would do outside, and they'll probably continue that. The mission is 3 things that the society looks to accomplish in everything they do. It's education, it's entertainment, and then it's community service. What we're going to look at here, fortunately, checks all 3 of those boxes. We also have a T-Bus Cares arm, and what that does is it's a fundraising. All net revenues from anything that's done, whether we're paid for performing in some location, or if we have a festival, And we do a day for the last 7 years, World Ukulele Day down in Dunedin. And we have a couple thousand people that attend that. This year we had 100 people that came and did a strum, and about another 200 who sat in the rain to do the jam. We also were asked by the state fair to conduct the Ukapalooza Day, which we just finished on February 12th. What my involvement has been, I literally got interested in it because I always regretted not having sat and listened to the music teacher in school many, many years ago. And I still remember the beatings we used to get from the brothers when the poor teacher would be in tears because we'd give her a hard time. And I always regretted that. The Ukulele Society conducts classes in just about every library in Pinellas, 4 or 5 in Hillsborough, and several in Pasco. I just happened to see it in the newspaper. I went. The thing that impressed me the most was the dedication of the people, and also how easy the instrument was to pick up and how you could continue to advance with it, and it became just a marvelous hobby. I can't contribute like some of them with my playing skills, but I decided I could contribute with the other skills of marketing, promotion, and event coordination. We've done 3 events on the district. This is not an event that just popped out of the blue. In talking with Scott, and you'll see why our relationship has developed, we decided that if we were going to do it, we'd start to get the market educated. So we had 3 of our groups come down on 3 separate occasions, once in October last year, once in December, and then again this past February. They performed for 3 hours, and then at the end, we would throw some kind of a reception, and we had as many as 60 people at Christmas who then would do a strum and stroll throughout the district. It was a phenomenon. Every section of diners stood up and applauded, just seeing all those people smiling, laughing, and playing and singing an 8-song medley. It was phenomenal. And each time I go down there now, the waiters always say to me, when are the ukulele people coming back? Or when I'll go to one of the, Dunedin has one of the big active groups, they'll come up and say, Rob, when are we going to the district? I mean, this is a term that none of them knew. A large percentage are from Pinellas, but very few had been down in that part of Cleveland Street. So, but the big thing was their passion, their energy, and the dedication. The Downtown Clearwater Merchant Association, obviously we're all familiar with it. I've worked with restaurants and in the restaurant business for over 40 years. I've never seen a group that's less self-centered and unified in trying to create the group. I say the district is a municipal miracle. I probably am more familiar with those things because I get to meet the people that rejuvenated Hollywood Boulevard over in Hollywood, Florida. I met the woman who single-handedly got them to allow outside dining in Los Olas Boulevard. Clematis Street, they have a board just like yourselves. Clematis Street in West Palm Beach, the same effort. As a matter of fact, I will recommend to the Kennedy School of Governance, Municipal Governance at Harvard, that they do a study on this because it is that remarkable. Especially looking from the outside, I think without closing those streets, without you funding that promotional effort, I think all those businesses would go out. All those would have gone out of business. Maybe Clear Sky survives, but I doubt the ownership would have kept it down there if the revenues didn't add up. So, and I don't know how many hundreds of jobs. So it is quite impressive. I saw that and I realized that this is a great promotional vehicle because without that, you can bring Bruce Springsteen down and nothing will happen. Again, there was a passion, there was an energy, and there was a dedication. Scott doesn't need to be his PR agent, but Scott Souza, I've dealt with 10,000 owners and GMs. He's a remarkable man, and the team of Sheila and Mike Mastrisario and Texiera and all the other restaurants have been phenomenal. We have a company called District Advantages, and it's an app that we did a trial program, and that's how I got to meet Scott and see the workings of the Merchants Association. It's an application that gives you 20% off your total bill, 1 to 4 people, in all of the restaurants down in the district and some of the retailers. It's sold for $20, and half of it goes to fund some of the activities of the DCMA. Like I said, it was a trial program because it's 2 blocks, so we've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, but in that small catchment area, it's difficult to get a large number of memberships. The key is our whole reason to be is to generate traffic. That's measurable. The app measures exactly how many people come. It measures their average check, and we're able to compare that with a normal check generated by an average transaction. We're about 30% higher because of the 20%. It drives the check up, and normally the parties are about 3.2. That's what had me working with the association.
Rob, if I could interrupt you for a minute. We're kind of straying off the agenda item here. This is for this proposal for this ukulele society. We're
Yes.
kind of off the agenda item. Can you steer it back onto that?
Oh, okay, all right.
We're running a little
No,
long
you're
on
right,
this
okay.
item, okay?
And I only mentioned that, how I ended up working with them.
I
Thank
know,
you.
but everybody's time is valuable, so
I
we're going
won't,
to keep it short.
absolutely, and I respect that. Brand consciousness, you can see, we realized that the district is a brand, and I'm extremely brand conscious. So we joined together to put this together. We did a plan. The plan was to educate the people to how magnificent that instrument was, bring people down, and do the strums. The activities for the day, again, as Howard emphasized, we're going to do instructional courses. We've condensed, it's usually 2 hours, we've condensed it to 40, 45 minutes. We have 50 ukuleles. People will be able to come in. We'll teach them 3 chords, and they'll be able to strum a tune. And with those 3 chords, if they practice, there's 300 songs that they can learn to play. Some of them will become avid fans, and it will grow from there. The instrument gains, and the love of music gains as well. We'll be doing the introductory classes, you can see, and you can even teach a mayor how to play.
Very good. I have a question for you.
Yes,
The lessons that you're going to be offering to the public?
yes.
Is there a charge for it?
No, these are free. These are free, just
wanna
as the
make that
lessons in
clear
the
for the
library are.
listeners.
Yes,
Okay.
and we've condensed it. We have the hands-on experience, and it'll be, yes.
Go ahead, Ken.
How many people came to Ukulele?
The Ukapalooza, we did one large beginner's class. There were probably 200, 250. It's in the exhibition room there. And then we had a concert at night with 1 or 2 of the instructors. The instructors normally will give a workshop for the advanced. Actually, they'll do 2 or 3. The rest of the day, there'll be acts along the street. We brought them as far as Alaska, who are experts at keeping a crowd engaged, and that will go from noon to about 8 p.m. There'll be two strums. There'll be a breakfast strum at about 11:30, and then there'll be a happy hour strum about 5 o'clock, and that will end up at the Peace Memorial. The second piece to the festival. The second piece to the festival was the concert, and when I saw that beautiful church, and I went to one of their concerts, and I realized that the acoustics are fantastic, and the ability to have a venue like that behind the district, close to a festival, it made infinite amounts of sense that you would cap it off by bringing in 2 very, very good talents who would be able to draw a large crowd. But it's all one activity. They're all connected. Without the 2 headliners, we don't have quite the luster. You could do a street festival, that's fine. So there's outside activities, which is your lessons and your acoustics. There's inside activities. There'll be 2 expert workshops that each of these performers will do. Master workshops for about an hour and 15 minutes. And these are for people who are, they don't have to be advanced, but they have to be intermediate. And the artists are extremely professional, and these courses are very heavily sought after. They'll normally do 100, 150 for each of the workshops.
Okay.
We're looking at a conservative attendance of maybe 1,200 to 1,500. That's based on what we're able to do in Dunedin, the amount of publicity that I'm very confident we're going to have, and the fact that, again, the two headliners are people that the organization and all of the ukulele groups in Florida have wanted to see, and were scheduled to perform a couple of years ago prior to the pandemic and had to cancel. So there's a built-up demand.
I have another question for you, Rob. Can you speak to, just briefly, what is your marketing or promotion plan to promote this widely to get a lot of attendance?
Our aim is to focus heavily on affinity groups, groups that would have an affinity for either acoustic music, music in general, or particularly, obviously, the ukulele. But we're not keeping it to that. As you can see, a lot of point of sale. Our press release, we've already gotten a short article there in the Beacon here. We're going to get publicity, I'm told, from the Tampa Bay Times. We have an inside person there. They're impressed with it. We've already scheduled a spot on daytime on Channel 8, and we'll be getting the community spots on 9. We just signed an agreement today with 88.5 WMNF, which is strictly a music station, for 250 spots that will start on March 8th. And our local WTAN will be promoting it as well heavily.
Okay.
But as far as the concert, an important thing is we decided that we would open the concert up to the general public without charging. And that's key, because we could have got local talent, we could have promoted it, we probably do 150, 200 people. Maybe we get 20, 25 bucks a ticket. We felt that particularly since we plan on this being a yearly event, it would be better to open it up and do 600 people and introduce them and show them the mastery, what that instrument is in the hands of masters. And just to highlight the two recording artists, Steve Boyson is regarded as the top performer. He was one of the people who started the ukulele group back in 2008. He and his daughter haven't performed for the last 2.5 years. And we were thrilled that he would agree to do it and come out and perform as the local act. The Birdwatchers are a group out of Utah. There's 3. They're bringing an extra person, a woman, as a percussionist. And they were slated here for 2 years ago. Concert was sold out and they had to cancel it. They did it remotely. So there's a pent-up demand. They've been on America's Got Talent. They're coming in 3 days early. They're going to make visits to the veterans hospitals. They're going to make visits to some of the nursing homes. So, and the concert, just getting back to that, we felt that there was the perfect opportunity. We think you should be recognized, not that you need it from an individual egotistical standpoint. We think that what the DDB does, because without it, none of this happens. And that gives us the biggest opportunity to educate the public who's making this possible. One such item was, I think I have to go back now, back of the ticket. You can see the rest. You're prominent in the press release and banners. And a simple thing is we fill that church, which I think we will, to be able to say, we want to thank the DDB for making this possible.
Right.
That, we feel, is the best bang for the buck.
Okay, Rob, I'm going to end the introduction at that point. I think we have a good background of what it's about at this point.
Well, what we were saying was, just to close, we like to think, because that is one of the key elements, that at least half of the expenses for the outside part, the travel expenses, could be covered. Not to bite the hand that feeds me or kill the golden goose, but I would ask you to consider, and I ask that humbly and respectfully, consider an additional $1,250 to be able to cover some of the travel expenses, which are the main part of the fees to the to the artists from Utah.
Okay, we will take that into consideration. Are there any questions from citizens or any citizen comments on this? Okay, so let's, thank you. I don't think, are there any members from board members? Any questions?
No, very,
Okay.
very clear.
So thank you for that. So we have a motion, we have a proposal for an amount, and we've also just heard his request for an additional amount. Elise, did you want to address us?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your attention, I appreciate it.
Sure. So does anyone, bearing in mind what's been said, does anyone want to make a motion at this point?
Yeah, I move that we give the $9,855 for the ukulele seminar.
Okay, the requested amount, the amount proposed by staff.
Yes.
Okay. Are there, is there a second on this motion?
I'll second it, but I would like to actually, another $1,250. I don't think it would be much of a hardship on DDB to increase that. Does that fit within our budget to?
Well, I think it does. I think technically we have to do the motion one at a.
Point of
we have to
order,
do the motion,
if you're going to second it, you're seconding what he moved, and then you can vote or vote against it and make additional
Okay.
suggestions.
Okay. Now, just to clarify, we get a motion, we get it seconded.
You
Yeah,
have
have it-
discussion,
We have
and
discussion.
then you vote or don't vote, you vote against it or for it.
Can
If
it not
goes
be
down-
amended
if it
before?
goes- Pardon?
Can it not be amended before it's voted on?
If the person who made the motion agrees to amend it, but it is tidier to have your discussion, vote it up or vote it down, and then if it's down, have another motion.
Okay. So, bearing that in mind, we have a second from Shahab, and it's open for discussion now by the board. Does anyone have anything to say about it?
It was very clear, actually. It's a great idea.
Mhm.
Attracts attention. I don't think I'll ever learn how to play it, but I think it's a beautiful instrument, and I love probably the most famous Hawaii, the song out of Hawaii that I think it's had, I don't know, probably tens of millions of views. So that sounds fun.
Very good. Is there any other board discussion? Keenan?
I think it's a great proposal and a great concept. I have a couple, I read through the documents earlier, and it seemed to be geared as a district proposal in the written format. It was mentioned throughout the, the content, and then we have done the Pirate Day recently, so there seems to be a trend of proposals coming through the district. I just wanted to point that out, which is fine with me, but that seems to be where it's emanating from.
Well, they're
With the
active.
400, absolutely. So, just put that in there.
Okay. Carrie?
Yeah, what is the total cost for this event? Do we
Okay.
have that?
20 something.
Total cost is $21,000.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, yes, Amanda?
I did just want to add the beer garden that happened this last weekend. It came through as an independent event, a couple years in the making, and but it did not appear before you guys because it was a for-profit event, and they anticipated making money. We haven't heard if they did yet or not, but so there are very few other events coming through, but most of the ones that you are seeing are ones that need some kind of support because they aren't anticipating making money and they're finding their way through the district.
I read through the proposal and listened to the presentation, and I think it's a good idea worth supporting, so I would urge your support on it, but each of you gets a vote. So if there's no more board discussion, we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it appears unanimous, and it goes unmodified or unamended. Okay, let's move on.
Should we discuss the additional he's asking?
No, it's, well, Elise, Elise?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Point of order, we've passed this motion, and now Shahab is asking, he wants to discuss an amendment at this point. Is
You
that-
passed that motion
So now
to
he
fund
can-
it for that amount. If
Right.
you want, at this point, you can't amend that motion. You should have voted against it if you wanted to change it. Somebody can make a motion to increase it by such and such an amount, a separate motion.
That would be the correct procedure at this point,
Yeah,
okay?
that would be the, but had you not liked this one, you should have said no.
Okay. Shahab, you have the opportunity
My
to make
bad.
a motion if you
All right,
want.
I'd like to have a motion to add to this request an additional $250.
Okay, do we have a second for this motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, so Terry seconds. Is there any discussion now? You want to make your case?
Uh,
Or you? we
I
done?
don't think they're asking a whole lot, and hopefully this becomes a annual trend and it keep going. And obviously, we shouldn't just promote it as the district versus the whole downtown. As we expand, I think, as downtown expands, it should encompass other areas of town. And I mean, it's only 2 blocks we have right now. Hopefully soon it'll become 3 and 4. And the auditorium, outdoor auditorium.
Some of us live on the 600 block.
Yeah, but you don't count.
I see that.
You can always move.
That's true.
Okay, does anyone have anything to add to that? Okay, we have a motion before us. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it looks unanimous. Yes. Congratulations, you are funded. Okay. Let us move on. We're on item 5.1. And Howard, could you lead us into the update on the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Wanderlust Series update?
Yes. Good evening, Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. Last year, in December, you as a board funded the Clearwater Jazz Holiday backstage bistro experience in the amount of $24,000. That event was a successful event, and tonight I have the CEO, Steve Weinberger, here to provide you the update on the event that took place in December. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Steve. Close this out right quick.
Good afternoon. Great to see everybody again. I'm here primarily to thank you for your continued support of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Wanderlust project that we have been doing now for a couple of years. Specifically, your support for the November, December events we just had. There were 4 of them. They were widely successful. I saw some of you there. We had 3 of the 4 of them sell out. The 4th almost sold out. It's a tricky time. It's the holidays, and there's a lot going on, but I think that you all are now familiar with this dream we have that came about during the heart of the pandemic. And for our constituents, activating Station Square Park in the way that we have has become one of their favorite venues amongst the various Wanderlust events we do. Since we started in October of 2020, there have been about 36 of these events. This particular board has supported the activation of Station Square Park. At the end of 2020, we did 4, then we did 5 in spring of 2021, and then we just did 4 more. So we've had several cycles of proven success with this. The music has been very diverse as our audience has been. And that's something Clearwater Jazz Holiday emphasizes and celebrates with the big festival, and now with Wanderlust, which has become a regular part of what we do. For the organization in particular, it has been extremely meaningful. As we have talked before, this has been an extremely challenging climate for outdoor events, and inside events for that matter, but particularly for a large-scale festival, which is our largest program service. So these events have become these platforms to carry on the tradition during the pandemic. As you know, Imagine Clearwater has complicated that for us, and we've been finding our way with different partnerships, like we were at Baycare Ballpark last year. We will be at Baycare Ballpark again this year, and hopefully we'll be back in our new home next year. And we have We have been inspired by these events. They allow us to continue the tradition, celebrate it all throughout the year, get our constituents together. It drives revenue for the foundation in the sense that we can sell tickets and sponsorships around them. But as it relates to this context, we are together activating downtown in a creative way. And we have people that have never been down here, people that haven't been to Station Square Park, didn't know it existed, and have been just blown away by the transformation we've been able to do with that in a creative way together. So I thank you on behalf of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation and all our supporters for believing in this project and hopefully keeping it going. We do intend to, we hope that you are inspired to continue to support it as we continue to do the Wanderlust series. Our idea for this year is to again replicate 4 events at the end of the year, late November and into December, just like we have been doing. And we've been talking to Howard at the CRA about that process. The timeline's a little tricky for us because our big program is in October, the 3rd weekend of every October. So as this series has been scheduled, we find ourselves applying to the Downtown Development Board just before that while we're planning this, our big festival, securing the artist in a short time, programming it, marketing it, and it's very stressful. We've done it great, we've been successful at it, but the hope is that if you are continued to be inspired to invest in this and support it in the way you have, that we can apply at least earlier in the year, secure the artists, market it, and make it even more successful so it's not such a crunch to do it all in the span of a couple of months. So that's our intent, and again, we thank you for your support. Hope you've been enjoying them.
Yeah, thank you. That's, speaking for myself, I very much admire the many, many years that you and Gary and the rest of the team have been doing all this work to put these events on. I don't know how many years you've been doing it, but...
With the Clearwater Jazz Holiday in particular?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I've been involved for nearly 20 years with the organization, and Gary about as long, so it's been a while.
Yeah, so I'm very impressed by that and very gratified that we're able to support you because you guys put on a wonderful series of events.
Thank you, it means a lot.
At least
Yeah.
I personally look forward to hearing from you guys sooner, so these get promoted, so that we go beyond sellout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be happy to consider it earlier in, prior to the end of the budget year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else have a comment or? Okay. Thank you.
Looks like.
Oh, Steve. Or Keith. Steve. Easily confused at my age.
It's okay. Out of curiosity, Bayshore, that's the Phillies stadium. And volume-wise, was it as productive as you had hoped out there?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was challenging. So by design, when we planned the festival, it was a special presentation, intentionally reduced capacity and control. So it depends on how you measure the success of it. We pulled off a large-scale, very comfortable event that made our constituents feel safe in a very challenging time. So, in that sense, we had a great lineup, we had great artists. Would I have liked to see more general admission attendance? Yes. But our biggest supporters had a wonderful time, and we've learned a little bit to be able to tweak in that experience to make it as great as possible now that we can open up a little bit more. We also increased our music budget a little bit more this year, coming out of what I hope is a really challenging time to have even more dynamic lineup, which will help. But there's nothing like Coachman Park and by the water, right? So.
It was a success.
Yeah, we consider it a success that we were able to do it and pull it off, and we're up for the challenge again this year.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the time to come and brief us.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Great. Okay, let's move on. We're on item 5.2, the discussion of ideas to improve downtown Clearwater, and Howard's going to take that away.
Being the board, Howard Smith, been an assistant administrator. I feel like I'm saying that a lot tonight. Last month, at the board meeting, at the request of the chair, he asked you all as board members to provide ideas on how to improve downtown. So from that meeting, went through, reviewed the notes, Also looked at the board meeting, and I was able to work and bring and consolidate all of the board members' information. In front of you, you all have the information for each individual comment that was done, and then from there, we comprise them and put into 4 buckets. So for tonight, I need you all to provide direction to the CRA as your staff. So with that, we have summarized all of DDB members' ideas. I would like you as a board to be able to take and prioritize those ideas and into the categories that we have provided. And then as your staff, we will go through and take and research the ideas for feasibility, in addition to looking at the costs for those. So if it's within your budget, if the budget has to be realigned based off of what you all decide tonight as a board, then we'll be able to do that. As well as staff will make a recommendation. Staff will recommend the implementation plan at next month's board meeting. So for tonight, I will walk you all through a presentation of your information, and then for us to move forward with ranking the categories in terms of first, second, third, and fourth to decide the path we would take to be able to address the recommendations.
Sounds good.
So the 4 categories that have been provided to you all is the marketing and signage, enhancements to downtown, business assistance, and also the recommendation letter to council. So in the marketing and signage, this is a compilation of the comments, and for this, I'll take a minute to pause, but want to make sure that we captured all your information. And do you all have any questions regarding the information on the marketing and signage?
The only one that I don't recall from the meeting is the gondola. Was that the way that you presented it, Terry? Was that your suggestion?
Gondola? No.
Because it's listed as your idea, but I don't recall it from the meeting.
The gondola?
Yeah.
Yes, the gondola from downtown to the beach, that was Terry does when you said that you got the feedback from the public, you listed that idea.
Okay, that was my idea.
Really?
Great idea.
Thank you.
And if there's any ideas you've changed your mind about, we can always, they lift right out.
Okay,
Yeah.
that went right over my head. I didn't recall it at all.
See,
Okay.
that's why I keep telling you all to speak up.
Right.
You can't even hear
Hey.
yourselves.
Okay. So I think everyone's in agreement with what you've got written down here. So now we can go,
Moving forward to enhancements for downtown, we'll make sure we capture all your ideas here, so I'll take a second pause.
I mean, I personally have vested interest, all my recommendations should be implemented immediately.
Yes.
on a priority basis.
Priority basis.
Yes. What's our procedure to do this? Do you want us to,
No, I just want to kind of walk through these in terms of showing you, make sure that we capture the information. And then after we finish walking through these, then we'll go through and rank the categories of interest for you all to decide which which category we would like to move forward with.
I'm impressed how you put this together, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
me
Must
too.
have taken the video and spent a lot of time, go over.
We do our due diligence. We work
That is
we
awesome.
work for the DDB, at the behest of the DDB.
Very good.
Thank you, first of all.
Okay. So at this point, we need to determine which categories we want to pursue first, second, and third, and fourth. So for that, I'll open that up to you all to make decisions. So we have marketing and signage, enhancements to downtown, business assistance, and then a recommendation letter to council.
I think marketing signage is probably the most important. If people don't find it, they're not coming.
Agreed.
now, do we want to prioritize in each column, or do we want to
We
prioritize
want
the
to
column?
prioritize the category. So
The
in
categories.
terms of
List four.
prioritizing each item in the category, I prioritize items in the category, we would be all over the map determining which one we would do. So prioritizing that category and then following through with completing those tasks within the category is the direction that we want to proceed as the best course of action to move forward.
Probably that's the most expensive part, probably the least amount of cost with your recommendation letter to the city council to do some sort of I'm sure they're having some activity happening to streamline what they're doing on the permitting, maybe recommending.
There's a business process study
Right.
that's starting, yeah.
So that one has no cost involved for us to put something together, a recommendation, maybe for downtown specifically, that if any businesses want to start in downtown, a new business, to get some sort of exemptions to speed up the process.
So you said that's first or second?
That should be after marketing, because marketing is probably the most important part,
Marketing.
my
That whole-
opinion.
That whole column.
Right.
Then we're going to select items in that column.
No, it's for the column, and then from that, like I said, I will come back next month at April 6th meeting, and I'll provide you an update on what can be done. So if you all tonight decide that marketing is the top priority category that you would like us to proceed with, then we'll move forward with doing the research for that. Also work with your legal counsel to determine what's feasible legally and what can be done. And then I will let you all know at next month's board meeting.
Well, I have mixed feelings on this. I agree that
Totally
marketing and
okay.
signage is a very important priority, but I'm looking at what, that gets into a very long and complex thing to do all of these. And it might be real easy to just do some of the other ones that are less priority, but can get done in a couple hours. Right?
Marketing, for example, and signage brings people downtown that doesn't see the viability yet. And, you know, I'm a real estate broker, and I leased out a spot for a girl, coffee shop. Now, I don't know the truth of it or anything, but she claims she's having trouble getting permits. I know the bar directly across from my office had trouble getting its permits to get open. I personally have had trouble getting my permits to get a very nice building built with 4 storefronts. So I think the sequence would be business assistance first, so we have something to market and sign point to. Because right now, you put a bunch of signs up, and they come downtown, they're gonna go, it's a couple nice places, but it isn't a wow factor. So that is just from experience in what I do for a living, is get some kind of business assistance or guidance to where someone can say, I'd like to open something up. Well, here's where you should go. We'll assign this guy to get you walked through all the programs and keep in communication with you. So this is what you need, and the next thing you need, and the next thing you need. So we don't have a bunch of people waiting, because I think there's a demand for people to come downtown. But if they come downtown.
Can you clarify, are you talking B2B or B2C? Marketing, I'm referring to business to consumers as opposed to
Well,
business to
I'm just
business.
saying, in sequence, and in just my opinion, is to get this assistance,
Assistance.
because a guy comes in, he doesn't know what to do, he doesn't know where to go, who to talk to, who can get him through the thing. So once that happens, you're gonna get people opening up businesses, then we market and have signage to show off our new businesses. But right now, I mean, we can market and point to downtown, but they're not gonna walk away, except on events, of course, they're not gonna walk away and go, wow, that was great, things are really happening.
Yeah, but
So-
the problem is we have businesses open right now that don't have traffic.
That's right.
So
Right,
it's,
but
I think the problem
Look, I
here
was-
is some things can run concurrently.
Yeah.
I think that's what's gonna
Maybe at the
happen.
same time,
Yes.
but you know, I was born in Manhattan, and when you get enough businesses going, parking's not a problem, nothing's a problem, it just, everything just happens. So we gotta get these businesses open quicker, and I think it will entice more people to get into business. Now, on a personal note, I had a major operation for 2 years. I told the mayor, I will start building the next day after I get a building permit. And it just seems to be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm not blaming anybody. I think the pandemic is what I've been told is the major problem. And if that building was done with the 4 stores, I promise you, I've got all 4 stores rented once that building's up. 14 apartments, that would go like vapor because there's a big demand for housing. People come off that beach in big numbers, and the first thing they see pretty much is that ugly shell that's there that could be a beautiful, beautiful building. And if I never been to Clearwater, went to a really nice beach and left and saw buildings that need repair, it'd be okay. But getting off the beach, sometimes that's a real slow process. So you sit there and stare at that building for quite a while.
Right.
Now, if you had a brand new building with new stores and people walking around, that might, as they leave, go, it's starting to happen downtown Clearwater. Then we could market something and put some signage, and it would just, again, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I have my opinion on this.
So
Okay.
what I'm hearing, I have 3 categories that are basically jockeying for number 1 for us to start first, which is the business assistance from you, Ray, Shahab, the recommendation letters to council, and then Paris, and then Terry, the marketing signage. So with that, I'd probably say begin with the end in mind, is enhancements to downtown. Would we like that to maybe be the last one that we start with? So maybe starting from 4th, going to 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st.
What about my bushes?
So the
You
CRA
need a
staff,
permit for
Eric
that?
is preparing landscaping. We have a landscaping contractor now. We'll be issuing a larger RFP in the next month or so to cover the next year. So there will be planning improvements. We're working on architectural improvements, all that kind of stuff, which we will be coming back and probably asking for some kind of financial partnership, the DDB around that. So as you were saying, a lot of these things will happen concurrently, so don't get too
bogged down into
too upset about it. But this helps us in our planning of where do we need to, things that are gonna take an hour or less, we're gonna do those, like drafting the letters. But just in terms of your budget priorities, in terms of, especially things that require new programs or issuing requests for proposals, what do we need to bundle together? What's most important, right, to start tackling first?
Okay, so that's a good clarification there, because I was beginning to get the idea that it was like, category 1 is going to all be done, and then category
Right.
3. And I don't think that's the right way we want to do it. I think that some of these are easy to do and don't take a lot of effort and a lot of expense and can just be done. We can just say, just please work on them and get them done. They're not necessarily the highest priority or the biggest priority in terms of funding. But the ones that I think we want, that I personally would want to hear about in terms of funding and priorities and staff time spent on researching their viability, is number 1, if we were to do the business assistance items, those 2 items, what would that cost us to have a viable outcome? Like,
Do we even know the sequence of going through the motions of it?
well, this year, we're hoping our staff will come up with
Well, we do the
recommendations
research.
on.
And
Right.
part of this, again, is talking with Elise and kind of walking through that process to see what we need to do as a board. If you wanted to hire somebody, contract with someone, what does that process look like? Do you have to do a request for proposal, bringing organizations or entities in to present their ideas or their information to you? So we will work with Elise and compile that information, bring it back to let you know what it would look like.
Hopefully, there's some options there on how that could be done. One is the DDB hiring somebody or
Contract.
doing a proposal with someone, but also there's other options which we haven't heard whether they're viable or not. Like if the city hired somebody or if the CRA hired somebody with the DDB commitment to handle the funding of it. I don't know, can we explore that option?
Right, well, the city would not hire someone to do the level of work that you're describing, because that would really be a conflict of interest. You can't have people filling out the forms and putting together the plans that are also checking them
That's a good point.
for the rules of,
Elise had a comment.
When I looked at this and how they were, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, they want to put together a plan on options and how you can do it. And doing it for the whole list, well, they don't need to put together options and plans on how to do letters to the city. All right, so realistically, putting that on, making that your number one, probably you guys can do that, you can ask for that regardless. But they do need to have some direction. I mean, where do we start? And what they're asking you right now is what list do you want us to start with and bring back options for? And you know what, if you guys look at this and you see something that you don't think belongs on the list at all, please forgive me, gondolas, take them off. Or whatever it is, whatever the boat thing is, I think I talked about the planting thing, I'm not sure. But, they're looking for direction to where to start. Because you came up with a big list, and if they came back with the whole list done, and options on how you can do this, well, even just doing the marketing one is going to take substantial time in your meeting. So they're not saying you can't do the rest. They're saying, tell us where to start with your options. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay, so.
And you don't need them to tell you how to do a letter.
Marketing to consumers, bringing foot traffic is probably the best thing that can be done for an area, because if there's nobody there, I don't care how many new businesses you have that are open, if nobody's come and visit the businesses, it'd be useless. So, I don't know how many times I've heard that. I didn't know there's such a thing existed in downtown. Well, there we go. We bring them, we drag them in there, and they will see. The word gets out, and some people, I guess, be willing to open up a business and put up the hardship of through the city, whatever it takes. I don't know. Is Tony here? I don't know. He's been trying to open up a place on he goes, it's harder than getting a permit than Manhattan. I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's, so let's bring people, figure out, my recommendation is let's figure out a way how we can bring more people here, let people know it's here, and sure, figure out a way to expedite these people to open up their businesses faster with city recommendation, and also, I don't know, someone put a checklist together with sequence to go through.
Question, Amanda, some input from you here. Is this just a single thread approach? We can only work on one of these at a time? Or do we have the resources to have more than one thing?
No, when we say we're gonna bring back next month a proposed implementation plan, we're gonna address everything in here. We're gonna let you know this can happen legally, or it can't. Or we're already working on this thing, here's how the DDB could be involved and what the cost would be. Or this is a new program, here's an amount of time, here's an amount of money that we think it's gonna take. But we wanna organize that in such a way that it reflects your priorities.
Okay, then if I can just say my reaction, and then everybody else can say theirs, and we can discuss it. I would think that I'd like to hear the business assistance, those two items get some priority. And then out of all the marketing signage ones, I think we should have a discussion. There's way too many there to have a priority. We need to narrow it down to which top 3 or 4 we want the staff to pay any attention to. Because I don't think there's enough attention to make all of them priorities.
Correct.
Okay, so anyway, that's my input. Does anyone else have something to say? Keenan.
On the business assistance, it's Matt, right? If memory serves me, when you introduced yourself, you have had a lot of experience within the city. And so I guess my question to Amanda, Elise, Howard, Matt would be, are these items something that the CRA could, instead of hiring outside, is there already the talent and the know-how within the CRA to do something to fast-track businesses down there?
So Amplify removed their list. We looked for it after this meeting that did exist that was number 1. So I thought number 1 was gonna come right off. So I know that checklist is out there. I don't know why that link has been removed, but we'll find it. So that already does exist. And item number 2 is something we've gotta really go through with Elise, right? That idea. So that needs more research, but number one does exist in some form or fashion. But as we were saying, if the issue is, if people come into town, if new business owners come in and they don't Google search or look for that list, or they don't know, right, that's a different issue. So then it's, well, where are people going for information?
So
Where does that need to be?
we could joint venture with the CRA, with the talent that exists to then fast track businesses into town. That's a possibility.
Kind of depends on what you mean by that.
Well, per array, there's things stopping things from happening, so if
And
we
I have
work.
people that want to rent storefronts. Like I said, the building that Shab and I are putting together, I got all 4 of those stores rented. But it's no good if the building isn't done. Now, Howard, you've been really helpful, and so has Matt. But if I'm a new person coming to town, I don't know what to you, Matt, to go to and talk, and you guys have helped me when I've asked. But I'm just thinking like a brand new person. Yeah, I'd like to put a bagel shop downtown. Where do I go? What do I do? If we can market, we got this little committee or group you can go to, and they can, no matter what problem you come into, they can keep guiding you till it's done. Then the downtown gets a little life. And when, this is a small town, you get a little life, people hear about it, they start to come in, the bodies start to come in. Then we can put the signage up to guide them in. I just think there's a sequence here. But I've been here a long time, probably as much as anybody. I got here in '83, and so I know a few people. But if I was brand new here, and Clearwater's got one of the top beaches in the country, I think I should put a place downtown. There's some empty spots. I wouldn't know what to do, where to go. I just think there might be marketing to that direction. Here's a group you can call, and we're just going to stick with you and communicate with you until your project's done. That would just give a lot of relief to a lot of people. That's, again, just my opinion.
Okay, Elise.
2 issues. One, as Amanda said, if you're talking about an expediter helping you get through the city, there's a conflict for the city to pay for an expediter to help you get through the city, all right? You're supposed to have your own professionals and yourself to fill out these forms. They can, the list to tell you where to go and how to go, and where to find it, that makes sense, and and it exists somewhere. But asking the city to pay for somebody to help them do what the city does, and then have the city review it, as Amanda said earlier, is a conflict. The second issue, a lot of what Ray is describing, I know this is the DIY generation, but how detailed do you want this expediter to do? Are we replacing attorneys? Are we replacing general contractors? Or are we having somebody who can say, for your type of situation, these are the steps you're going to need to take? And you may need a professional or not need a professional, but, when you start talking, it sounds like you want us to hire an attorney to help you through it.
No, not at all.
And it needs to be defined enough so that this person, just make sure that you know the places you have to go and the forms you have to fill out, if that's what we're doing. You need to set some barriers. You need to set some boundaries. Because you do have a few attorneys and contractors in downtown that would hope you wouldn't put them out of business. Okay?
Well, I think this is a very complicated issue. Okay, and we're not going to solve it through our personal anecdotes tonight of sharing stories. And I think that if we want to have a work session where there's a deeper dive into it, that's fine. We can set that up. The city is doing a business process study on permitting. Certainly there are numerous nonprofit organizations, the Chamber of Commerce, right, Spark, the Small Business Assistance Collective, and other ones who are dealing with this issue too. I mean, what I will say is probably this entity nor the CRA, we're not going to get in the business of helping people get their permits, because that is not our mission. We're trying to bring investors in. We're certainly helping with funding, right? We're going to make those connections and phone calls to connect you to the right person, but we will not be the people who are holding your hands every step of the way. We want to make sure you have enough capital to hire professionals to do that. And it's not in our authority to reorganize the planning and development department.
I
right,
think,
or add more staffing. So,
My bad,
yeah.
sorry, continue.
so I think there are some, again, multifaceted. Where is the front door to downtown, right? I walk down Cleveland Street, we have no city hall right now. How do I even put my hands on a person who works for the city? That's a problem, right? Because typically someone could wander into a city hall, or they wander into the visitor center of a chamber of commerce, you know, if they're not Google, and that doesn't exist right now. The Chamber of Commerce is hidden, right? Amplify's hidden. We're all hidden in the Bank of America building, the former Bank of America building. And those are things that are being adjusted. But so it's just a more complex issue. And if that's your number one priority, and that's what we're hearing, then, you know, we'll say, okay, here's kind of the time and conversations that need to happen.
I think a high-level checklist
Yeah.
should be sufficient as opposed to someone hired to do that.
Yeah.
Checklist of, the planning department, this is the area, this is the, if you wanna open a retail shop, these are the 3 major requirements you're gonna have to fulfill. So that'll be a checklist of those 3. Here's a link, here's a phone number, or check Google. I mean, I get a person, I go, are you gonna vote? You're Clearwater resident, you voting? I'm not registered. What do I do? Okay. What would I do? Google, where do I register for, I mean, it's like, he's not even thinking, this is Google, okay, Google, what do you need?
Go, Keegan. I would like to recommend we do a work session, because I don't see us, based on this conversation, convincing the CRA to pay for, nor do I think it's in our budget to pay for a person to do this. And if their city's already fast-tracking something to fast-track businesses in, we should be in alignment, and maybe we then give our suggestions, which are great, on what's missing.
I agree.
And that would be maybe more appropriate than us running somebody to do it.
Okay, back to marketing.
Terry?
I see it as 2 separate things. We want to bring people from the beach, you know, going to and from the beach downtown, and we also want to help new business owners get businesses started. And I think we have spring break coming soon, I'd love to have a sign or 2 just pointing people, you know, downtown so they could come to a restaurant. If they wanted to not go to some place on the beach, but maybe get a place that may not be quite as busy as the beach, just a sign or 2 to direct people over here. That's what I see. And then we work to help new business owners in whatever capacity we can to get their businesses going.
Keenan?
I like that idea. The old city hall that isn't a city hall has signs periodically for the lightning, the bolts, everybody else. So why not take Terry's idea and run with it and slap up a big sign on the old city hall that says, that would cost $500. Come on downtown.
We've asked, they won't let us.
Well, how did Bolts get that up there?
Yeah, I mean, the process is
That
that
would go into the
it's brought up
marketing.
at city
Just let Amanda
council.
speak.
Sorry, the process is it's brought up at city council, and I might have missed the city council meeting where it was brought up, but they bring up the language there and it's approved at a council meeting.
I see.
So I
You
mean,
do it
certainly,
after midnight, you go
we
put it
can
up.
do that request.
So I'm thinking, just based on what I've heard in the discussion and Amanda's comments and so on, is the business assistance section is not, maybe we should revise, instead of being do item number 1 and do item number 2, it's looking at these ideas that are listed there. What is a feasible way that staff can suggest for us to enhance business assistance? Maybe that's the better way to phrase it, rather than saying we want this done. So if staff can have that as a priority of what is the best way that the DDB can assist businesses to get started.
So is this the group's number 1 priority category, business assistance?
No,
I don't
Or is
know.
it marketing?
I'm still in marketing.
Oh, on marketing.
And can you just direct us what we have to do today, just to pick up a different category? We're not meant to discuss every single line item here to see what's better, just to pick what category to
It's just to
prioritize.
pick the category, and then from there, the CRA staff, we would do our due diligence to make sure that, one, legally is it feasible? Can it be done or can it not be done? What also can the CRA, as we are a small group of 5 now, what can we do or what has to also be outsourced? So we would do our due diligence to find that information out once we give them the direction on how to proceed.
Okay, well, let's get a show of hands here.
We can go, I'd say let's take a quick vote.
Yeah, I think we can just do it with a
Marketing
show
and
of hands.
recommendation letter to council, I would say those are the, anybody who say, should we take that as number 1? Marketing and letter to city council. That would be 1. Another category is business assistance, and I guess we said enhancement downtown will be tabled for the last. So,
Okay, now-
anyone up for marketing and
Do we need
letter?
a motion, or can we're discussing it, can we just have a show of hands?
If there's a clear consensus, we'll take it.
Okay.
If not, we'll make you vote.
It's not a
Okay, so
motion.
let's start over there,
Well,
just
we can mark it.
in a couple of words.
We could market to a website that has those checklists. If you want to start a business, go here, and if you have a problem, you go here.
Okay, well, let's not get into the weeds on this, on specifics, it's just out of these 4 categories, we want to get an answer.
Right.
Which one is your top pick right now? If you had to pick one of these 4?
You need something to market.
No, just a yes or,
Oh
just
my.
pick a one.
I
or
say
pick-
business assistance.
Okay.
Businesses, number,
Marketing.
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 Marketing,
Okay,
okay, done.
so it looks like it's marketing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, just to keep the discussion to a minimum.
that'll keep us busy for a bit.
So does that give you a clear direction?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, moving on, take it away, Howard.
Okay. So from there, like I said, we will go through, we will see what's legally feasible, what can be done. And then we'll let you know what the CRE staff can do and then what would have to be outsourced. I do have a meeting set up next week to review this information with Elise. So when we come back at the April 6th board meeting, then I'll be able to provide you all an update and a direction to move.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Well, that didn't hurt too much. Okay, so let's move on. Item 5.3, Amanda, could you give us the CRA update?
Yes, just 2 quick updates. City Council did approve some new transportation enhancements for Cleveland Street, some planters and some bollards. That happened. The next meeting on that will be April 8th, and that'll be an hour. And invites will go out to tell you where we are with the design and plantings, everything for Cleveland Street. And then following that will be the first Cra Community Forum working title. I don't have an exact name yet, but where all the downtown groups can come, any interested residents, anyone who wants to share what they're doing in downtown, what they'd like to see in downtown, hear what the CRA is working on in downtown. Certainly, we'd love for you guys to be present as your individual selves to participate and share what's on your minds. And those are going to be quarterly meetings, so we'll have 4 a year to have that time to let them know, here's funding deadlines if you'd like to ask for a DDB grant or a CRA grant, just all that information
Where will these meetings be?
right here.
Right here, okay, I can find my way in.
Right here. And then March 30th, that evening, there will be an event at the library and a lecture at Capitol Theater by Clyde Butcher, right? He's the photographer. So he's going to talk about his work, and we'll also be debuting an immersive sound installation from the Everglades that's being recorded right now. So we'll probably hear a preview of that at the event on March 30th, and then I'm not sure where it's going to be installed yet in downtown, either the Gaslight Alley or maybe somewhere along the Pinellas Trail, but somewhere where people can then walk and then they can actually hear the sounds of the Everglades and click on QR codes and find more information to tie back and forth.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty cool.
And the bollards and enhancements to those at the intersections, what's the timing for that?
Eric, do you remember, is it 30 days? Remember, it was definitely not more than 2 months. I think it was 30 days, though.
To have them installed?
Correct.
Wow.
Oh, good.
The wheels of government are speeding up.
I'm going to say my favorite thing, supply chain.
Okay, excellent. And can we throw a potted plant in there too?
Yeah,
For me?
listen, Eric's got the plants covered.
Okay, good. Okay,
Those are available at Home Depot and Lowe's, so.
Excellent. So is that the update?
Yes.
Very good. So the chair's report, there are some monthly events that are happening in March. March 12th is the Market Marie from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 710 Court Street. March 19th, we have the Clearwater Arts Alliance Public Art Walk. They're going to be providing half-hour tours at 10:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. starting at 112 South Osceola Avenue, which is that City Hall? Amanda?
The Market Marie, the art walks?
No, 112 South Osceola.
Yes, starting
Yes.
there, the sculpture in what was a fountain that got filled in, and now there's the big white swirly
So
cloud.
it's in the City Hall parking lot?
Yes.
The former City Hall,
Yes.
okay. And you can register online for that, to those interested. March 19th also is the Clearwater Hispanic Farmers Market, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., 710 Court Street. So the Market Marie and the Hispanic Farmers Market are having their events at the same place on the same day?
Yes, different days, but same place. Should be different days.
Oh, you're correct. It's March 12th and March 19th. Okay.
At the intersection of Court and Myrtle.
Okay, very good. And for a full calendar of events, you can consult our website at downtownclearwater.com. The public is invited to do so. So now we'll move on to final comments, beginning on my left.
I really appreciate what CRA does. I mean, we sit here and talk it to death, but it's the team actually is going to get it done, which is awesome. Just acknowledging you guys. Not a full acknowledgement because I don't want you to stop. Just let's continue.
Yes, I'd like to echo his comments also. The CRA is doing an exceptional job, so thank you so much.
Very good. Go ahead, Keating.
Last Wednesday, the 600 block vape store downtown, Vapor and Espresso, if you don't know, they have a $40,000 espresso machine down there. There is coffee on the 600 block along with your favorite vape. They opened their Hatchet Hangout. So I got talked into going, and I had a full head of hair before I went. But no, it was actually a lot of fun. They have music, you're throwing axes, and it's quite an art to watch these guys, but highly recommended. It's just around the corner on Myrtle. So anyway, that's it.
Great. It's great to see all the activity that is happening, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. So thank you all for what you're doing.
It's nice to walk around downtown and starting to see paper in the windows with construction company names on it. I had to move my real estate office because the Woolworth building is getting completely revamped to 4 to 5 star quality. I don't mind, I got a bigger place and it's nice. And it's nice to see that happening because that's what should be happening.
Just two comments to make. One, echoing the other board members' statements. I was very impressed by this.
Yeah.
You guys did very good work putting this together and summarizing our random statements and originations. And I want to echo something that I've noticed on Cleveland Street in the 400 and not so much the 500 block, but to some degree. There's a lot of activity at night. There's lots of people there. It's a thing. It's actually happening. I've been working up on my roof looking down on the street, and the sounds of bands and music, and people are coming from a lot of places. It's become a destination. So the board, the volunteers that are involved in marketing it and in coordinating these activities and the bands, we've actually created something that I think we can be proud of. So thanks to all the volunteers that have helped make that happen, and to my fellow board members for supporting it. Okay, and with that, at 6:49 in the evening, I declare this meeting adjourned.